What's up, you guys? We are back. We've been a little busy lately.
Yeah, this whole filming thing is fun, but not easy with a crazy life and a baby and work.
And just a lot of stuff going on. But we're doing something new tonight. We're really excited about it.
A little bit nervous.
Yeah, a little
More
nervous.
than a little bit.
So as most of you know, since the fire, a lot of our videos related to the fire have done really well. There's been a lot of new people that have seen our story from in the hospital and even past that. But tonight we actually get the first opportunity to share our testimony in front of a youth group here in Rockford at New Hope Community Church. And yeah, so
We're excited, nervous. If you told me this a year ago, I probably would have laughed at your face because I am not a public speaker. I don't think either of us love it. I don't know if anybody loves it, but...
And of course, both of us have anxious stomachs, so that's another fun part in the whole ordeal, because when you sit down and film a video, you can cut the video, you can stop and take a break, or...
There's no audience.
Yeah, there's no audience. So we'll see how it goes. We're going to film the whole process and worship and just see how the night goes. But we're excited, so we're excited to bring you along with us. We'll see you in there. Here we go.
I have the same shirt. It's like a cider kind of man.
There's a lot of kids here.
Travis and Rachel, come on up. We're going to invite them up right now. Give it up for my nephew and niece, Travis and Rachel. And Brittany is hanging back there, but this is my nephew and my niece-in-law, Travis and Rachel, and they have, you had that, an amazing story that God is using them through here. So we're going to hear their story and follow up in a minute. Check, check, check. How you guys doing tonight? We're a little nervous. This is the first time that we've really gotten out and shared who we are, shared our story out in public, and you know, it's a little different being on YouTube and being able to cut everything, stop and start when you want to.
We're not public speakers. If you told me I'd be up here a year ago, I probably would have laughed at you all.
And high schoolers are a little scary. No, so we're going to start with the night of the fire. So for those of you that don't know, on May 24th, both my wife and I were in a house fire at my in-laws' house. We were staying there while we were building our house in Rockford. Rachel's going to start with her portion because I was sleeping. If any of you know me, I sleep a lot, so that makes sense.
Yeah, we're going to try to keep this brief for Brent's sake. But just to give an overview, I was at my parents' house, which is just across the driveway. I came over to go to bed. It was around 9 o'clock. I was just with my dog since Travis was sleeping. And I don't know if I smelled something, if I heard something, and I got up and I checked the stairs, and all I saw was smoke. So I grabbed her dog, I ran and shook Travis, I called my mom, and the last thing I remember is looking out at the window and my mom screaming, "Get out now, you need to jump." And that's the last thing I remember.
So after Rachel went out the window, I then grabbed our dog Otis and tossed him out of the window, and quickly the flames went up over the window and trapped me inside, which led me to go to the stairs and make my exit, which was down the stairs and through the barn and through the fire. The last thing I remember was getting loaded up into an ambulance, and we headed to the hospital where a lot of crazy stuff would then take place over the next few weeks. So Rachel wasn't conscious or doesn't remember the first week and a half of the hospital, but both of us were on ventilators. Both of us were expected to be on ventilators for about 2 weeks. Rachel had an emergency C-section and gave birth to Brindley, which is our first. And
Hopefully sleeps through this whole thing.
yeah. But yeah, so once we got to the hospital, the doctors kind of explained what our path was going to be, what was next for us, which was a lot of surgeries, a lot of dressing changes, and a lot of physical therapy. So I'm going to open up with a verse real quick. It's James 1:12. It said, "Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him." So, we're blessed to have a story. We're blessed to be able to come here and share with you guys our story. Like Brent said, it doesn't always have to be a horrific story to give honor and glory to God. God doesn't waste anything, and that's something that has meant a lot to me through my life, is that God doesn't waste anything. It could be, a small story, big story, doesn't matter. It always has a big impact for the kingdom of God.
We've learned it's easy to praise God in good times. You can sing when life is going well, when there's nothing wrong, but in the hard times is when it's important to focus on God, and that's important where your focus is in the hard times as well, which it wasn't always easy. We had pain from burns. I had a brain injury. There was days that we just cried, and it sucked. I mean, there's no sugarcoating. It wasn't fun, but we were happy to be alive, and that's where we tried to put our focus.
So, I think one of the coolest things about our story is that God teed it up perfectly for us. If you just look at the story from a distance, you could see that we survived. You could see, that portion of the story. But there was a lot of cool stuff that maybe you haven't heard that happened with this story. So, one of the coolest things to me is Brinley. We picked her name out about 6 months before the fire happened. To my surprise, when she was born, we were told the meaning of her name, which Rachel knew, but I did not. It means burned clearing. So that was kind of the first one for me that was like, all right, God is in control.
And funny enough, I knew the meaning, and I didn't want to change it. I really wanted her name to have a biblical meaning, but I liked it so much that I was like, oh well, I like it, so we'll just keep it.
Yeah, and then the next things are, kind of happened while we were in the hospital. So just to give you a background, the fire was the hottest fire that these firefighters had been to in 27 years. They said it consumed about 6 feet of space every second. So there wasn't much remaining. It was ashes and rubble, and even our cars were burned down to a point where it was just the frames. But Rachel's uncle went back to the fire, and they did a sweep through of everything. They wanted to double check and just make sure that everything was gotten that could be. And
He's a builder. My dad is a builder, and my uncle's a builder as well. And my parents didn't want to go back until everything was gone. They didn't want to see the rubble because they were there that night. And they took an excavator there that day. But right before they got there, my uncle and brother were walking through, and they found a Bible. And it was my very first Bible I had ever gotten. And right inside, my grandma wrote, "Do not fear, for I am with you. I have called you by name, you are mine." So that happened really early on, maybe day 3 or 4. And the next day they went back to start the excavating, and again they just did one more sweep through, and they found a shirt. The shirt had a little bit of burned on the sleeves, and it said Yeshua, which means God with us. And when my mom told me in the hospital, I just looked at her and I smiled. And I said, that was the shirt I was baptized in last year. And she just had tears running down her face, and I said, Mom, it's okay. We are here, we're alive. But it's just hard not to see how God has been with us through this whole thing.
So another area that I feel like God used us was in the impact within our own families. We took the positive approach to everything that was going on. This is not my first rodeo, it's not Rachel's first rodeo. We've been through some crap in life, and we've learned very quickly that God doesn't leave your side. We've learned that through everything, He's there, and even when you feel like you're not being blessed by Him, He's working in some way.
I mean, even the support, our nurses said that they had never seen a bigger support system. We were on the trauma floor, so everybody coming in and out had to wear a gown and gloves, and they said they went through more gloves and gowns from our family than they did as many patients that were on the floor. So that is just crazy. It helped us. knowing how many people were praying and supporting us, it just helped us keep fighting. So I'm going to read another verse, Matthew 9:37. Then he said to his disciples, "The harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Ask the Lord of the harvest, therefore, to send out the workers into his harvest field." When Travis and I were kind of going over this, we were thinking of verses, and this one just really stuck out to me. You can go to church every Sunday, but where do you go from there? Do you just leave it at that? Do you go to church Sunday and then wait until the next Sunday to talk about the Lord, or do you go out and talk to anybody and everybody you see throughout the week? So that one really stood out, and as we found out more stuff from our story, and even just from day 1 or 2, we were alive, we took every opportunity we could to share with our nurses our story, to share the Bible, to share Brinley's name. We just tried to plant seeds in every which way we could.
Yeah, and like I said at the beginning, I feel like God teed it up perfect for us to do that. He gave us concrete evidence with the Bible, with the shirt, with Brinley's name, and just everything else that came with this story, were people that may not know who he is, or may not know what being a Christian is about, or what God's love is like. It just gave us the opportunity to share with them, and hopefully just reach one more person, get to one more person, and continue to fill the kingdom. Another area that we were able to reach a lot of people with social media. We didn't plan on having a large following or really anything. Rachel and I from the beginning knew that this story was more, it was about more than just us, and we just wanted to share who God was. When we put our video on social media, much to our surprise, it got 105 million views on TikTok. It got 25 million views on Instagram, and a lot of people reaching out to us, people from all over the world saying that it impacted them, or that they're praying for us, and that was a cool moment for us. To see someone comment and say, "Hey, I'm from Paris," or "Hey, I'm from Spain,"
Albania, or
all over the world. And
people said too, like I was doubting my faith. I was unsure of what I believed, but seeing your story and seeing how you glorify God, it really solidified my faith, and that was just humbling. We kind of just got to a point where, personally, I was in the hospital and I just said, "Here I am, send me, God. Like, this is not my story, this is yours." And that's kind of where we're at still. I never pictured being here, but we love sharing our story and what God did. And there was a time in the hospital where Travis said, "If my pain was for this, then it will have all been worth it." And I could not put that into better words. Matthew 16, verse 24 through 26. Then Jesus said to his disciples, "Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. For whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will find it. What good will it be for someone to gain the whole world, yet forfeit their soul? Or what can anyone give in exchange for their soul?"
So, to kind of finish off our story, a lot of cool stuff has happened. Like I said, this is our first time speaking in front of any group of people outside of social media. Yeah, outside of a camera, which actually we do have rolling. We still don't know what's next. We don't know what God has planned for us. But one thing that we do know is that every time stuff like this happens, God's there. And it just makes us want to serve him more. It makes us want to know him. And, I know this one has been said at New Hope before, but we want to know him and make him known, and that's, our one goal in life. It doesn't matter about Travis and Rachel and their story. It doesn't matter how big the story is, because at the end of the day, everyone has a story, and it can be used to glorify God in a big way. I think that's about all we have. We just want to thank you guys for having us, and for giving us the opportunity to share. And
Hopefully we did okay for him.
Wow. So, they have quite a story, and it's amazing a lot of people have stories, but not everybody uses their story. So our challenge for you guys tonight, as middle school and high school students, as leaders in this room as well, is to use your story, to be obedient in those opportunities. You guys, I'm sure you understand, but we all have things in our lives that will connect with somebody. I mean, whether it's going through depression or bullying or struggling in school or such a broad range of opportunities that you may have gone through will connect with somebody. And that story will be impactful for somebody. But I love the final piece there as they said, man, this is not our story, this is his story. Guys, we want to share his story. We want to share what God is doing in our lives and let that be another opportunity for us to have a chance to evangelize, to tell people who Christ is, so they can know, not us, but know him.
All right, guys. So it's been a few days since we spoke, and Rachel and I were just kind of sitting back and just thinking about how it went. You know, we had mentioned that we were really nervous before we started,
And even while we were up there,
yeah,
still nervous.
It just kind of seemed like a blur, but really what excites us most about how the night went is just the impact that it had on some of these kids, and just to see how God's working, really.
Yeah, we had kids coming up to us right after telling us how much it impacted them or how much it helped them share going into going into small groups right after that. We had people reaching out to us through Instagram. We are still mind blown at where our story has gone.
Well, and the cool thing too is just seeing these kids being vulnerable, opening up about their stories and just how God's working in their life, or kids that are struggling, because struggle is real, and it's just cool to see them open up and share about their stories, because like you probably heard us say while we were up there, it doesn't have to be this crazy horrific story. It doesn't have to be this life-altering event where you're in the hospital and all this stuff. God will use it, and
everybody's got a story.
Yeah, and that's the part that we're most excited about with this whole thing, is that we can share with others our story, and hopefully it allows them to share their story as well, and we can all come together and just as Christians help each other out and just be there for each other. But that was our first time speaking. We hope there's more opportunities out there for us to speak and just share what God's done in our lives.
Hopefully it gets easier.
Yeah.
It's much easier talking to a camera than it is an audience of 150 people.
Yeah, it was a little nerve-wracking to say the least, but
we had fun.
Yeah.
Once we were up there, I wasn't as nervous. It's fun being able to share our experience and how God has worked, and it's just crazy being his disciple firsthand.
Yeah. But with that being said, this is a new experience for us. We hope you guys enjoyed it, followed along, and, we're excited to just continue seeing where this story goes. But with that being said, so last time we had you guys comment down below where you're from.
And it was really fun.
Yeah.
We go through all the comments and we read them all every time, no matter what video. So it's just crazy seeing how far our story has gone and seeing the people it's reached.
Yeah, and so because we had so much fun doing it, we want you guys to comment down below again. We were thinking prayer requests. So if you guys have a prayer request or an area that you're struggling in your life, we want to know about it, because we want to pray over you guys as, Rachel and Trav, a couple. We want to pray over you. And
we've experienced firsthand, prayer works.
Yeah. When we were in the hospital, that's one thing that was evident to us, is that prayer does work.
We had an army praying for us, and
yeah,
it's crazy. Our surgeon said that we should not be where we are now,
mm-hmm.
and it's not because of our doing.
Yeah. With that being said, if you guys are new here, subscribe, and we're going to be posting more videos. We're excited to post more videos, so watch out for new videos coming out. But outside of that, comment down below, and we will see you guys again soon.